Okay, so the reason why I record this, everyone I know my little setup here, I have my recording, is that I don't know if you all know it, but I'm a TikTok star. And you're all involved in that for me being a TikTok star. I did a video. What I'll do is, was that Rick?
We want residuals.
Well, you'll get paid when I get paid, which is nothing right now. And I was speaking at an event, and I'm doing a lot of social media things, and I went ahead and I said, let me go check my TikTok channel, because AI suggested I do a TikTok channel. And I looked at one of my talks, and it was actually the one about, it was about never unsubscribe from spam emails. It was a while back that I gave that. And I was floored away. I had 75,000 views on that one video. It was about 3,548 likes, and approximately, let's see here, then females liked it better than males. It's amazing statistics. 31% male, 69% female, and the group was like the 35 to 44. So I was blown away that I'm now a TikTok star, and I have to thank all of you for that. So thank you so much for making me a TikTok star, and we'll see how that goes. So, thank you. So also, last night, my wife and I, we indulged in some adult beverages, so I did not do my speech last night. I woke up early this morning beforehand, and what I did is I used Notebook LM. I said, okay, I'm going to do a speech to a bunch of older gentlemen that happen to be very smart. Here are the topics I want to talk about. Create me the slide presentation. So we're going to go through together, this slide presentation that it created for me. I did not write this. I just gave it the instructions to give me the speech. And it did everything here. I kind of want to show you where we're at today and how this is going to hear. So we had a great conversation last time about what happened with Anthropic. And I went deep dive into Anthropic just to understand a little bit of what was going on with that, because I thought it was a fascinating subject. And there's a lot of questions about it. So I said, okay, give us something about that. We're going to talk about geopolitics, systems drag, and then another big topic that's been coming around is how it's changing jobs. I'm sure a lot of you have been reading about all the companies laying off and where it's going. And I want to share with you why that's actually happening. And what I'm seeing is to some of the shift in these positions and what we can expect in the near future. So this is the AI's presentation that I'm going to give to you, behind the scenes of the AI trajectory, an intelligence briefing on geopolitics, systems drag, and organizational survival. That's a pretty good title, huh? Yeah. All right. So, yeah, thank you. So this is the whole thing about where we're at with intelligence, okay? I'm just telling you, from using these bots day in and day out, the capacity of where it was at 2020 has significantly increased. And this actually, the past 2 months, I've been overwhelmed. I know a lot of others in my group, it's the same thing. We all look very tired because we stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just programming, learning what's going on, getting to the next thing. I've already launched multiple programs, coded programs, that I'm working with my coders. So what I'm discovering is if there is a need in my business, I can now create the solution to it using software and putting it out there. Just give one quick example. We've always, in my company, we have salespeople, real estate agents. And there was this great spreadsheet we used, which was just too unwieldy because it was a spreadsheet. And we want to gamify the activity of prospecting, doing what you should do, talking to people, networking, presenting. And it would not work. It was on a spreadsheet. So I took that spreadsheet, the concept of that, and I created a sales app that you can put on your phone. It's using sophisticated databases, and it allows agents to just, with the one click, I made a phone call, or I did this, I did that. And then it uses a system where they can then have a leaderboard, and it shows who is in the top for the leaderboard so they can compete with one another. And I did that all within 2 days, completely out there. I have 37 agents actively using it and loving it. I've now posted it for free on my GitHub, and I'm going to do a SaaS national model now called salesgamify.com, which I'm working with my app, and I'm going to launch that in a few weeks. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And what's exciting is that if you have this systems knowledge, you can use these tools to create things that would take a whole staff and a lot of programmers to do it. That's where we're at today. And 2020, you couldn't do that. The models were dumb. So as you go up the scale here, looking at 2023, GPT-4 passed the exam, the bar exam, with 90th percentile. At 2024, now we're doing 3-second voice cloning. Now 5, it's getting smarter and better. And the one thing that I want to share with you is that this is the dumbest AI will be today. It's going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And that's why you have to pay attention to it. It's not going away. It's just going to get better and better and better. Now, the one thing too that the Anthropic really brought out is there's a new kind of war happening geopolitically. And this is actually a pretty good analysis of that. The nuclear parallel is you had US, China, and Russia. And China's still there, by the way. And this was the race to get the most nuclear bombs, that type of thing. What we're now facing is the digital part of it. And unlike uranium, where you have to process it, that type of thing, these models are digital. So this is what's weird. So did anyone follow what happened when China copied all of Anthropic's model to replicate what they just launched with Opus? Everyone hear about that? So what occurred is, because these models are available and most of the big AI companies are here and local, so what China did is they queried the Anthropic model millions of times to replicate what it does and then have its own competitive AI model in China. So it got attacked, essentially, to try to replicate and try to figure out and reverse engineer what that AI is capable of doing. So that's actively happening by others that are not very friendly to us. And that's the kind of war that we have that's occurring at the moment. And that's part of where there's a lot of sensitivity on the US side for that. Now, going back to what happened at Anthropic, and I was fascinated that Anthropic, of all companies, was involved with the government. Because if all of you know, Silicon Valley and those, especially remember Google, that one of their phrases was, "They shall not do any harm." They removed that, by the way. It's no longer there. They're now going to do some harm. But Anthropic was embedded through another company called Planeteer that it allowed him to have, because they need this stuff inside the government. And though they were the only company out of all of the AI companies that was certified to work with the government. And that's how they were embedded in that. But what's interesting about Anthropic is that they have of all the models, they don't use your data to build it. They have a constitution inside the company. And I was a little taken back. It's like, why would they involved with the government? Because if you're in DoD, if you're working in the government, you know what they do. And a lot of you have that background. You're building devices and the government uses that. So they know what they were going to get involved with. So the government did one thing that they have not done for big companies. They designated them as a supply chain risk, which means that they can't get involved in any of the different type of working with the government itself, which the others were fighting for that. And it was only for $200 million, which is not a lot of money. It's a lot of money, believe me. But Anthropic just last month did, I believe, like some ungodly amount of money in 1 month, because they became the deer of everyone loves that whole model. So that's kind of that. And so in the deal breaker spec, and there's position on one side or the next, is on the Pentagon's requirement. They have a sub-spec, all lawful use, description, standard immutable, government contract language, absolute battlefield reliability. Anthropic, they had their dynamic guardrails. Company reserves the right to refuse requests and alter the model mid-mission. So now they're being sued. I mean, so Anthropic is suing the government for doing what they did for identifying them as a supply chain risk. But so that's going back and forth right now. But that's kind of where it went down there. Now, the question is, and I was talking to Kevin about this in detail, is that, okay, is the government lying? And, it's the government, so you got to trust them. But they did go, they get affiliated with them through another one, and they have their terms of service. So that's where it happened. They got pulled away from this. They were the only company that had the capacity to be part of it with the government. So that's gone. Now, I was curious to say, okay, what about the other AI companies? They were not embedded into the government. That's changing right now. So Google, which was surprising, is complying with DoD. They're going to be integrated in it. So they're going to start using the Google models into the government. OpenAI, and one thing that I did research is Sam Altman was actually, he was concerned because he thought it was too aggressive for the government to do what they did with Anthropic, because he wanted to say, you should let me try to negotiate it, but they still did it anyways. And of course, Grok, as you know, which is Elon Musk, he's all in, and he's pretty much into it. So the only one that's now part of it is Anthropic, and Anthropic is the Claude Code type of thing. You have a question in the back? Yeah.
Yeah. You said coders. What do coders do?
You said coders? Coders. I'm sorry. I don't mean.
You have people that work for you that keep an eye on your AI and what's happening with your business.
Okay. Yeah. So for me personally, I have a coding agent, a coder, and it codes with me, and it watches that whole thing. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's yeah. But that's it. But just going back to this Anthropic item here. So this is kind of where it's at right now. So at the moment, this is a very charged position because of what's going on, because you have the geopolitical vulnerability. So if you look at it from us, from US, from a domestic standpoint, we have heavily guardrailed. We have guardrails in place. Deployment is handicapped by bureaucratic oversight, strict focus on safety constraints. Now, if you look at our adversary, and China is our adversary, if you just look at it from a world standpoint, they are stealing every single one of our models. The thing is, though, what's curious is that they're stealing it, but they don't have the secret sauce. So if you ever use one of the Chinese models, which I've downloaded on my computer, and I've used it, it's called Kimi, the output, it doesn't know why it's doing it, but it does it. So then when you start to look at really what makes Claude Code or Anthropic just a beautiful AI engine, which I love it's hard for those other models to kind of get 100%. So they're like about 85-90% there, because they can copy the results, but the what's inside it still hasn't been copied yet. So on a Chinese start, you got variants stripped off, zero guardrails, immediate unconstrained. So this is kind of what's happening in the world. This is what they're really focused on the whole thing from that part. So I found that fascinating. I wanted to share kind of the deep reservations and why that all occurred. And I just did not. I still found it hard to believe how Anthropic was so involved with the government. It was a head scratcher for me, because especially based on who they are, because they do not have the same alignment with what's going on and everything that's there. Okay. All right, so that's Anthropic. So now, what's going on with the knowledge work? So this is this is kind of a heavy topic. So I figured you guys wanted to know a little bit on it. You've been watching all the stuff about what's going on with jobs going away. So this is why this is happening. So they've done a lot of research on this, and really they're calling it the coordination tax. So 60 to 70% of overhead for when you do something, and a lot of you have been in these meetings, well, like Module 1, sitting in meetings to synchronize 8 brains, right? Writing specs for secondary actors, translating status updates and handoffs, and then prepping decks for executives who skip source material. So the whole thing, the jobs that are starting to get removed are those that are trying to coordinate humans to fill in with those who weren't in the room, or to understand what's going on. So if you think of it from just purely how does a business operate, I've been in those meetings where we've had endless, I can't tell you how many decks I've done that no one ever would read, and it would just drive me nuts. I'd spend hours on something for the executive to understand, and then he wouldn't even read it or didn't acknowledge it. or had me redo it again. So all the way the businesses work is trying to coordinate all of those people together, or just working with the engineers or the programmers to program it. So what's switching is they're saying here, conventional AI workforce studies assume that org charts remain static. They miss the reality 80 out of every 200 employees exist purely to manage human handoffs. That's what's going to go away, that human handoff. So if you look at it from, this is the architecture, saying legacy architecture, specs, status, updates, meetings, versus an AI architecture where you have context. So it's one person and a small group can do with that all these other groups, because you don't have to coordinate with other humans, because you got that one small team that's able to do it with the coders to make it work. There's right now 2 different types of coders out there. One is you have the Claude code, which works hand in hand with the group, and that's what I'm using to build things. And then you have, through OpenAI, a field called Codex. And Codex is the competition to Claude Code. And what Codex will do is you outline what you want, a very detailed resource document, and then you give it to Codex, and then Codex will work on it for hours. So one thing that I will tell you is going to be the new oil of the everything is going to be called tokens. And what a lot of companies are finding, and a token is it's the value that's used to do these items. So it's hard to. It's just it's what the engines use. So the more you're burning through tokens to get to a very sophisticated answer, and those are becoming expensive. So that's going to be really the new type of item. And also we're going to get a fork. So what I'm seeing now is that when I design things, I am programming my items to be viewable by AI bots. And the way they see things, the way we view items and take in information is pictures, images, text, what we see on the web. There's now another fork that's made just for agentic bots called Markdown files, which strips out all the unnecessary graphics and gives the core context, the core data. So there's going to be a point where you may see the internet kind of go away, and it's just strictly for machines because it's faster. It's called Markdown files, MD files. Anyone heard of those? Yeah, so this is kind of where it's going to be forking out. All right. So the reality is AI is not going to replace humans. It's going to replace that connective tissue between humans. That's what I'm seeing with this, is that it's just going to, that's what's required to keep all these humans who miss meetings, are on vacation, weren't listening, didn't want to listen, they're too busy looking at their golf swing, whatever it is. I've seen this too, by the way. It used to just irritate me when I was in corporate. It's no longer, you got small teams that are able to go in there and make stuff. I'm finding that if you, like for myself, I know what needs to be done in certain parts of my field, especially in real estate. I can now make that and create it, one person. If you got a few of those strike teams inside these, that's what's happening, is you get these strike teams inside these corporations now with that someone who can use these coding tools, and it is spectacular what you can create. Spectacular. And let's see, the jobs created entirely maintain organizational friction or disappearing. For anyone staring at 11 hours of meetings next week, this is the best news possible. And this is the payload that survives: vision, architecture, system design, and genuine care. This is from the AI. The bullshit evaporates. The work that survives is harder, more interesting, and infinitely more valuable. We get to touch the actual product more. And this is kind of where we're going. So instead of that, because that's how business has always been done. Human resources are there for a reason. And you don't have to have all that complexity, that connectivity. You can just get it done by the people who know what they're doing. And this is the survivor diagnostic matrix. The new system architects catching the wave and redundant connection layer. In an environment with zero friction between thought and execution, survival requires absolute agency and an exponential learning ramp. And it did this because you are the audience. I normally would not show a slide like this at all, but because it knows all of you are engineers, it gave you guys a matrix. So you're welcome. You got a matrix. And I want to share actually a quick story with Tom. Tom shared with me that his bot is giving him information very technical, and he was surprised a little bit by that. And what I shared with him is that these bots, as you use them, they get to know you, and they can search a little bit about you as well. They have connection to it, which might unsettle some people. For me, I love it. The more it gets to know me and know how I think, how I vibe, I want that. And that makes me so much more productive. So it's giving him results in the way he understands things, which is super technical, providing kind of those type of things. And I'm not sure if any of you have experienced that yet. And if you haven't, you're not using it enough. And you kind of have to open up a little bit to it. All right, so this I kind of believe that we are living, I'm not sure if it's better than fire, but again, this is the bot writing this. So we are living through the most significant technological shifts since electricity, perhaps since fire. The question isn't whether this architecture will change everything. The question is whether we have the operational clarity to steer it well. And that's coming from the agentic bot at where we're at today. I do believe this year will be referenced in history books. Where I feel, especially when I was part of the internet and when it became a thing, and I've shared this story with you many, many times, where I would sit in these boardrooms with other real estate people and try to tell them what the internet was. And it wasn't really there yet, but explain to them why they have to get on board with this, because there's a small company called Zillow that we're worried about that might put you out of business. And I can't tell you, I had people just tell me, you have no idea what you're doing. I've been doing this for 40 years. This is the way we've always done it. We've had this big book here. You come into the office, you look at that book, right? All of you have seen it.
Yeah.
Why would we give this for free? This is the book. Everything's here. It's updated every 2 weeks. That's very fast. Every 2 weeks. Why wouldn't anybody want any faster? I remember that, just watching it and seeing that and knowing in my gut that no, this had, and then also sometimes, because these are salespeople, they would talk to me and I'd say, maybe I am wrong. Maybe they are right. That book should be the way it's done. It's never changed. It's worked for years. Why would we change it and just throw all these people out of business? Why would we do that? And luckily so that's the same feeling I'm getting from the internet. I'm getting the exact same feeling for today. All right, you guys are quiet. Did I overwhelm you? What's going on? Yeah.
Does it ever get so smart that it's going to help you what your basic needs are?
If it ever gets so smart that it outdoes what? Basic needs?
It makes deals,
Oh,
contracts.
okay. So the question is, will it replace what I do as a real estate professional? Eventually, but not today. And most of what I do in sales is all human interaction. And all it's doing is making me faster and better as a real estate agent. I'm able to do way more and be better at my job. That's the way I look at it. I don't see it replacing me. All it's doing is it's just making those who embrace it better and faster. So I'm nimble. I'm like the Flash when it comes to real estate. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Explain. They just sold to American company TikTok,
Yes.
and yet we sort of started this whole realm. But they say that you had to buy it but you cannot know how to change it or something, right?
Yeah. So Mike's bringing it up. Yeah. Go ahead.
And so I see people on Instagram.
Right.
So you can go on Instagram, but everybody likes TikTok.
Right.
So,
And I'm a TikTok star. You left that part out.
well, my son too. He put his house out. I'm assuming it went to the internet.
Yep.
Which it did,
Mhm.
and it probably went to TikTok too.
No.
No, it
No.
wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
No, what's it do? Just go to the.
So to explain, so that's social media,
If you
and
make beautiful 62 pictures of your house and you
Right.
put it out on the internet, which he sent to me,
okay.
it doesn't go to TikTok.
Not unless you post it. Yeah, so the way the social media works is you have to actually post it to it. So this is where I'm doing these things and I'm actively posting it to the different vehicles in TikTok. And TikTok was forced to work with an American company but still has a big Chinese focus in there. And I mean, social media, for its faults and good things, I mean, it's there. You got to deal with it. I don't fully engage with it like a lot of other people do. but I recognize its importance, and that's why we advertise it and we make sure that we get all our messaging out there. Yeah, Tom. Last question.
Two very interesting talks. How could AI help Rob in the distribution of water and getting us
I've
more
been
water
pushing it
cheaper?
with my staff.
Yeah. So the question, or at least the statement from Tom, is how can we use AI to help with the water? I'm assuming that they're looking at adopting like the Claude Code models or something there, because it excels in this kind of stuff that you're doing.
Well, I've forced them to, for instance, take notes for all of our meetings and committee meetings and so forth, so now someone doesn't have to do all that. And then we do extensive modeling of our groundwater basin, and I've asked them to start doing that, so we can predict what happens if you add
Right.
wells or shut wells off or so forth. So
But because you're a government institution, so there's going to have to be some guardrails in place, and there has to also be privacy type of thing. So more likely, you have to go on an enterprise level, and you have to have a conversation with whomever, either through Anthropic or it's sometimes going to be OpenAI, to use a co-pilot that works and can accommodate, because you have multiple needs. You have notes, you got model running, you have maybe helping your engineers with sophisticated engines that kind of get some real quick scenarios, and then taking that and then distilling it for the politicians and for the voters to understand why the importance of what we're doing, because water is one of the single most important elements that the human body needs, and why this is an important subject to talk
They have
about.
to dumb it down for us directors.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys, thank you much.
Thank you, guys.